This is Professor Black. So I wanted to kind of jump on this since you were out of class the other day and go through these items because you have to knock out these glyphs by Tuesday when we come back to class. So your next project is going to be to actually do 3 characters in either a script or italic typeface. And so scripts and italics were developed in their own form, just like we've talked previously in class. They used to not be actually combined with the Roman forms. They used to set up upon themselves. So I've already uploaded the slides of this, so I just want to talk through this so you can go through and read the specific content. But italic, or also known as Italian, letters originated from the informal or cursive business hand writing style that was practiced in the 15th century. These are a couple examples. So the top one is Zaffino, and Zaffino was actually designed by Hermann Zaff in 1998. And so we can see that it's using what's called the translation model, which, if you recall, that is the model of your broad nib pen, or it's the offsetting of the same line. And so if you tape 2 pencils together, you can get the same effect. It's beautiful in the form. The only thing that I just like about Zaffino is actually in the logo of the name itself, the Z crosses in. And usually that's something, as a type designer, you always try to avoid, and you want actually whatever final name you go with to actually be one of the most beautiful words that your font is set in. The one below that is Bickman's script. Bickman's script was indicative of the writing style of businessmen. We talked about this a little bit with the Coca-Cola deconstruction earlier this week. And so this is the expansion model. So we see this pointed pen being used. We see it especially through the Z. And look, I even put the Z specifically in here for you because you asked me how that number 3 Z looked like. And so we can see as the pen comes up, and then as it transitions to pulling down, that's where we see the heavy stroke coming through. So the next example is Apple Chancery. This one, I could not find the designer. Apple doesn't mention this anywhere, but there's actually a Zaff Chancery that was designed by Hermann Zaff, which was the designer of the Zaffino that I showed you previously. Again, this uses the broad pen, so it's the expansion model. We can see that in the construction of the letter forms coming through. This is very indicative of the Chancery style of handwriting, where the features unconnected letters. Now, this is still a script because we're seeing that element of the tool directly evidenced. The next one is kind of a postmodern italic, Philosophia. And Philosophia was actually designed by Susanna Lichko from Emigre, and Susanna really loved the typeface Bedoni, and so she wanted to create a piece that was a little bit more playful. We can see that evident in the concave forms underneath the bottom of these serifs, and even almost in the flipping back of the italic exit stroke in this. One element to note is that the uppercase of this is actually a monowidth construction, and the reason for that actually lies in the name. She wanted to design this specifically for use with sheet music. And to do that, because the musical notes are broken down on mathematical principles on a sheet, you need a typeface where all the letter forms are of monowidth construction. The next elements are all examples of a little bit more expressive lettering styles. These all come from one of my favorite old foundries called House Industries that do a lot of playful work. And one of the things I love about House Industries is they chase down their own interest and find the cross-section of their personal interests along with the market availability. And they say actually that's where the creative component as far as making money is when your personal interests overlap with market desire. In the top left one over here, this is called Sign Painter. It's based upon the old brush style lettering, and so we see both an expansion model and a translation model because of the use of the Sign Painter's brush. The next one is Studio Lettering Sable over to the right, and so this is an expansion model in this. The bottom left is actually Studio Lettering Swing, and this is based upon the same tool that Comic Sans was based upon. It's a round pen nib that we see from the old Speedball lettering books, which I also uploaded to to the coursework section of your Blackboard. The last one is Studio Lettering Slant, and it's obviously a translation model, and we can see that coming through here. The last page that I'm going to show you is Bello Pro, which comes from the typeface, the type foundry called Underwear, W-A-R-E. Bello Pro is a brush script typeface designed by Underwear, and so we can start to see that brush face evidence in it. They actually created Bello small caps because most scripts are not designed where all the uppercase letters can sit next to each other. So these are just a quick examples for you, so I hope you enjoy and are able to complete at least 3 characters by Tuesday's class in the script or italic model.